Hey guys, this is Locke. In this video, I'm going to be covering Noho, the new ranged historian. I think her animations look pretty cool actually. I really like that. So that might also be one reason that you can get her. But overall, I think she's quite a decent character with quite a few reasons why people should invest in her. But there are also some reasons why you can skip her as well, and I will go through both of them in detail. So I do have the unit I have pulled for her. I'm just going to go over her skills first, and then we're going to talk about her. So first of all, her passive at level 20 gives us 86% resistance to shock. This is the same as the blue Henry. He also gives 86% shock resistance to everyone. So she's an alternative. You're not limited to using the blue character now. You can use you can basically use her instead for any way you want to get shock resistance for your party. Two notable places you can do this. One is the guild raid where it's the lightning dragon. That dragon causes shock to everyone. So instead of using Blue Henry, you can now use Noho. You can also use it for the Tristan. I think that was chapter 10, I believe. He causes shock to enemies as well. So this might be, you can use this character to basically help you in fights against Tristan. She's usually more useful than Henry because she does a lot more damage. Henry, it does healing instead, but usually you're struggling for damage against Tristan. So most of the time, if you're struggling against that stage, or if you haven't done that stage yet, Noho will probably be will be very helpful to get that stage done. She also has a second passive as well, which increases her combo rate at level 20 by 58.8%. And then for her three active skills, they're all actually buffs for herself. So the first one increases her crit rate and crit damage. I'm going to look at it at level 11, which is 57% crit rate and 55% crit damage. And then I'm going to go all the way up to level 20, and you can pause it if you want to look at levels between that. But at level 20, she gets like 85% crit rate and 82% crit damage. I think this is a pretty great buff, actually, especially at like level 20. You're not only increasing crit rate, but you're increasing crit damage as well, which is basically like an overall modifier to your damage. So this is a really great buff. The second buff at level 11, it gives you increased damage dealt by 47%, and if you go all the way to level 20, it goes to 70% at level 20. This also basically increases your damage output as well. All three buffs kind of do the same thing. They all increase your damage output, but they increase different stats. Now this buff at level 11 increases your attack by 28%, and all the way at level 20, it increases your attack by 40.6%. So basically, she is like an auto attacking character. She uses all three buffs. All of them have all of them last for 15 seconds. So once you've buffed it all three, she basically has 15 seconds of like doing insane amounts of damage. The skill cooldown, it starts at about 37 seconds. But with the standard build, like this is this is the setup that I'm using. I'm using this pet, this formation. There isn't really much skill decrease. Okay, there's 6% here, and then maxed max codex buff, which decreases the skill cooldown as well. It went from 37 seconds down to 29 seconds, and it can go down further as well if you're using specialized skill decrease equipment or accessories, or even the armor pieces or something. But I just wanted to give you an idea. So what do I think about her? I think it's really interesting, and one of the things that was really stood out to me with her, right, is how her ultimate skill works. So first of all, I'm going to read it to you, and then I'm going to tell you something unique about it that's completely different from all the other units in the game right now. So first of all, what does this do? This deals damage. Well, let's take a look at how much damage. At level 11, it is 1,600% of attack. It's defense ignoring, which is it ignores 40% of the enemy's defense. It's just a straight damage skill. It doesn't cause CC or anything. Instead, it ignores 40% defense, so it's like meant to do a lot of damage. At level 20, this skill does 2,410% of attack. So this is kind of standard for an like a single target skill. Like look at Cosette for example. So at level 20, the base damage is a little bit lower. So at level 20, Cosette does 2,650, and Noho instead does 2,450, I believe. Okay, 2,410, so a little bit less, but that's what she is meant to do. Just do a lot of single target damage, and because of the ignoring of 40% defense, she might even do a little bit more damage than some people. But Cosette with her target debuff will eventually do more damage because of that. But anyway, I just wanted to give you some ideas of what the range is, right? Like that's pretty much the standard range for like a single target attack. And then she also has a suppression skill. And what this suppression is for is actually the Lightning Guild Raid Dragon. So at some stage, I don't know if it's been implemented into the game yet. I haven't done the Guild Raid yet since she was out, but they will start causing some kind of AOE suppression attacks, and to get past it, you need to have like rage accessories, or the easy way is to basically use a suppression character like Noho. So you can bring her there, and she really works for Guild Raid because she has the passive that can reduce the shock chance of all of your units. And then on top of that, she also has a suppression for the Guild Raid mob as well. So overall, a pretty neat character. And now the unique thing that I said about her ultimate. So typically, like any other character that you take, like take Adele for example, when he's using attacks, normal attacks, he charges his ultimate. If he uses any of his skills, even if their skills are buffs, like for example, Cosette's skill, whenever she uses a buff, it also increases the skill gauge. But it only increases it by a little bit, like maybe like 10%, it might be a little bit more than that, but something like that. It won't be more than like say 15% for attacks or for skills. Noho is completely different. Her normal attacks don't actually charge the ultimate skill gauge. I don't know why that is. I guess it's by design. So getting in a lot of attacks doesn't actually increase her skill gauge. It just like the only way to increase her skill gauge is actually to use these skills. Each of these three skills charges her skill gauge by 33%. So once all three skills have been used, she will actually have 100% ultimate skill gauge. So if the fight starts and she uses all three skills right away, she's actually able to use the ultimate like right at the beginning, just after she casts the skills. And because she has just cast these skills, she will actually have a really boosted ultimate, because she will get increased crit rate and crit damage, she will get increased damage dealt, and she will get increased attack as well. Because she does, aside from her ultimate, she's going to be doing normal attacks. Her secondary passive, the combo chance increase, also becomes very handy. Now, in case you don't know what combo chance increase does, whenever you do a basic attack, like a normal attack, a combo chance gives you a chance to hit the target twice. So if you're attacking with basic attacks and doing 10,000 damage, now if the combo chance thing is triggered, you would actually hit it twice for 20,000 damage instead of 10,000 damage. So if you are able to get the combo increase chance done, quite frequently, it can basically almost double your damage output with normal attacks. At level 20, this can go all the way up to about 58%. And depending on the pets you're using, or other other units, like for example, if you have Rachel in the party as well, it also increases the combo chance of everybody in the party. So you can increase it up by quite a bit and have her do like double damage with her normal attacks. So what do I think about her? Let me just first talk about her in general, and then I'll talk about her with the guild raid. So I think she brings a kind of interesting style to the game. She has, she's a long range unit, she's a range unit, so she is able to kind of keep out of enemies' distances, enemies' threat ranges, enemies' AoEs, and do damage from afar. Typically, like for example, if I'm playing Cosette, I want to do as much damage as possible. Like I want to keep attacking, so that as I'm attacking, I'm charging this ultimate skill gauge. If I have to dodge a lot of attacks for some reason, that's actually decreasing my time. Well, first of all, I'm not doing any damage while I'm dodging attacks, and secondly, I'm not charging my skill gauge. So she does a ton of damage with her skill gauge, because I mean the modifier for skill gauge, ultimate skill, is just so high, right? So I really want to be getting off the ultimate as often as possible, and for that to work, I need to be auto attacking as often as possible and using these skills to be able to charge that ultimate. Now, as Noho, it's actually not the case, because even if I'm auto attacking, unless these three skills go off on cooldown and I can cast it again, I will not be able to use the ultimate. So she's actually good for like kiting opponents, right? Because you can basically kite them and charge up your ultimate, wait for these things to go on cooldown, and once they go on cooldown, basically you're able to use them and then use the ultimate and do massive amounts of damage. So she has a kind of interesting playstyle with that dynamic. I'm not sure how often this will actually come into play because you still kind of want to be attacking an enemy anyway, right? Like if you're not auto attacking, you're basically losing your DPS. But the only thing is that even if you're running around, you can still be like if it's an enemy that you have to around a lot for. Noho might be situationally better in that sense than Cosette, but in most cases, I think Cosette is still going to be better because probably a lot better damage output. But it's like an interesting style. It might even appeal to you just to play this because you might be like, well, I want to play a different style. I'm getting used to this game. I want to try something new, and Noho just plays a little bit differently. If you, especially in like the multi party raids where you're only controlling one character, it might be a little bit of interesting style to play it. So that's the first thing. So how does her damage compare to the other units? To be totally honest, I don't know because there has to be a lot of testing done for her, and mine is at level 34. Like she's nowhere near where she really needs to be. She doesn't need crit set because she's going to get a lot of crit from her buff anyway, so you can run her on attack set. Whereas for Cosette, unless you have the new crit accessories, most likely you'll be running crit set on her, so you might have a little bit of a damage bump. But I think I think most likely Cosette will still out DPS her. As for the others, honestly, I don't know. I mean, like if somebody has a level 45 or 46 Noho and you're comparing with a level 46 Adele or a level 46 Miss Velvet or something, then it might be a good comparison. But honestly, I have no idea because this is a totally different kind of way to do damage. She's not using any skills at all, but all her normal attacks are going to do a ton of damage, much more than the others, most likely. So I honestly don't know which one is going to do more damage. It will need a lot of testing to really come to that conclusion, and I'm just not there yet. So I mean, like you can try it out for yourself. If you happen to know, you can leave the comments below and I can read it, as well as other people watching this can also read it and get a good idea. But hopefully at some point in the future I'll be able to to tell you. But I think she's okay as like a generic range unit, especially if you don't have Cosette. She's an alternative that you can pick up and kind of use, in my opinion. But where does she excel? She excels in the guild raid, the lightning guild raid, because I mean there are two reasons. I've already mentioned them. She brings the passive to let your team survive and not get shocked, and secondly, she is the suppressor for that. And I guess thirdly, also, I find that's the stage where I need to run around a lot more than the other ones, like the lightning one, because I can't stand on those lightnings and he does a lot of AoEs, and it's just I have to run around a lot more for that stage than the other ones. So having Noho, who doesn't need to keep attacking to charge her ultimate, might be better there than the other ones, right? So this might be a stage where Noho is a good candidate to bring. Well, I mean, for the other reasons as well, but also because she is able to charge your ultimate by just reusing the skills. What kind of set should you use? I mean, I already said you don't need to bring the crit set. Is there a case to bring the cooldown set? I'm not sure. Because higher cooldown will mean that she's able to get these skills off faster, and if she's able to get these skills off faster, that means she's charging and using the ultimate a lot more often as well. I am tempted to think that the attack set is the one that you're probably going to want to go for, but I haven't done the test. So if somebody is able to do the test and able to tell us which is better, that would be great. But my assumption is that this is probably the best set, the attack set. As for the accessories, again, I don't know, but I can definitely see a case for bringing at least one of these, like one of the time acceleration accessories, because that's going to drastically cut down the cooldown time of her buffs. And if those are cut down by even a third or something, that's going to increase your damage output. It's going to also increase the uptime of your buffs, because your buffs only last for 15 seconds. And in a standard build, you have about like 25, 29 seconds cooldown, so you don't have 100% uptime with it, right? So if you bring at least one time acceleration accessory, it'll most likely drastically improve your damage output. So I highly recommend it on her, but I don't know the best setup yet. I'm not sure if it should be like, say, one of that and two of the transcended accessories, or one transcended and two of the acceleration. I haven't done the test yet, so unfortunately I'm not able to give you a complete picture, but I'm hopefully able to give you some ideas to to start thinking in that direction. Now, why should you get her? Why should you not get her? So I've told you the good things about her. I said that it's an interesting style to play. She can work functionally as a long-range DPS. She's really, really good at guild raids. So those are all good reasons of why you should get her, right? And especially if you want to pay attention to guild raids, if you think you want to do it, because the rewards aren't bad. Like you get some extra. Where are they now? Let me just take a look. You get some extra rubies every week. You get some extra gold every week. You get some extra topaz. So that's not bad. Like having her will definitely help you with it. So I mean, there are a lot of reasons that I can think of that I can recommend Noho to everyone to pull, right? And I think the most important reason will be the guild raid, because if you're planning to do well in guild raid, you probably need a suppressor. So if it's important to you, I would recommend getting her for this. What are some reasons that you should not get her? It would actually all come down to guild raid. Is guild raid important to you or not? If it is not, then it's somebody that you can skip. Because if you look at the rewards and you say, well, okay, right now I'm able to get, say, 9,000 points, right? And with her, maybe you can get to 14,000 points. So you'll basically every week you'll get 100 extra rubies. Is it really worth it getting her to get extra 100 rubies and 100,000 gold? Well, maybe not, right? I mean, it'll take a long time to actually pay off the 15,000 rubies or so that you spent on her. So in that case, I mean, maybe it's not, right? So if you're not a fan of if you're not a fan of the guild raids, or really don't care about doing that well or something, maybe it's okay to skip. Another reason, even if you are a fan of guild raid, another reason to possibly skip her is that I'm going to assume that we're probably going to get the suppressor unit for the other guild raids as well. So for me personally, my highest score is the Silent Garden. The Thunderbolt, the Thunder Dragon, is the one that I score the lowest on. So if I'm already scoring the highest on the Silent Dragon and I really want to focus on this team, maybe I want to focus on getting this suppressor instead of that one, because I'm probably going to increase my score a lot more with this one than the Lightning one, right? So if I can't get all the guild raid suppressors, I can only get one or two. Maybe those are the ones I want to focus on, and I want to kind of push the Thunderbolt one to the side. That's one way of thinking about it, right? But it all ultimately comes down to the guild raid, because that's where she really shines at. If you really like guild raid, if you want to do really well in it, I highly recommend getting her. If you don't want to do well, or if you want to focus on the other two guild raids, the Silent Garden and the Chaotic Land, instead of the Thunderbolt zone, that's another reason that you can basically skip her. So I hope this video helped. I'm going to give you some other tips and tricks kind of things, because now we have there's been a lot of updates to the game, and I have not had the time to really go into it. So I'm going to fit whatever I can in whichever videos I make. So the other thing I want to talk about was her proficiency level. Now that her proficiency has increased to 10, how likely are we able to get the rewards from this? Like, how likely are we able to get her to level 44 without buying the 20 shards for $100, or that stupid pack? What are the chances? Okay, so I have spent about 6,000 maps, like the regular yellow maps, and with 6,000 maps, she basically went from proficiency 0 to proficiency 3. And you know that each proficiency level increases, drastically the amount of experience you need, right? Like, for example, if you look at Rudy, he needs 8,000 EXP to go from level 9 to 10, whereas Noho only needs about 4,000 to go from level 3 to 4. So basically, you're gonna need a ton of maps. Like you must have saved like a lot, maybe like I don't know, 20,000 maps or 10,000 maps or something like that, like some ridiculous number. Actually, 10,000 is not going to be enough at all. Something closer to like 20,000 or a lot of green maps as well, to be able to level up her proficiency from 0 to 10 in like 2 weeks. So I wouldn't like I think you can probably safely get her to maybe like proficiency 5 or 6, but 10 is just too hard in my opinion to get her to. So you can safely count on getting assuming it's at 6, right? You can say you can get 6, 7, 8, 12, 14. So you can get like 14 shards, and you need 72, I believe, to get her to level 44. So you still need to make up a lot of it on the way. You would need to probably buy. Sorry, where is it? The soul stones. Definitely, you need to buy the soul stones with the with the. You definitely need to buy her shards with the soul stones, but you might also need to buy it with the for ruby. Like you might need to spend on this as well. So for me, it's really hard to get to that level 44 level. So I don't think it's worth it to try to rush it and spend a lot of ruby on this. So I skip it. Like I don't buy shards for rubies because I don't think it's worth it for the cost. Like I'm basically spending 600 rubies every day for like 2 weeks to basically at the end get like 20 extra shards, and that's just not worth it. I also don't think that this pack is worth it either. So I generally skip it because I think it's just way too much money. Like $100 for 20 extra shards. Again, not worth it at all for me. So that's my advice. I just wanted to give out some numbers there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I've not made so many videos in the recently. I've been really busy. So I will do my best to answer some questions if you guys have them, but it might take a while. So I apologize if it takes a really long time to answer you. But I'm just really busy, unfortunately, in real life, and just trying to prioritize what I need to do. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Take care now. Bye.